Again, they don't last that long. Anybody living in there? Oh yeah. Yeah. And that was definitely a chipmunk or a squirrel doing his thing. I believe I saw one kind of running out of it too. Let's see how bad we tore up that cover. And if it comes out, definitely put up a fight. Oh yeah. Now we didn't have to remove it. Let's see what damage I did. I had to cut Sawzall this way. We didn't break through the seal, that's good. We should be able to get in there and nut and bolt. This one, I was able to get on the edge of it. Good. Alright, let's go get that crap literally out of there. Let's see what we got. We gotta get a belt ordered for this thing. I don't know if anybody's gonna have one local. Yeah, that would have been good to fire it up and let it run through, huh? I'll grab a glove in that trash box. Hey guys, how's it going? Hey, we're going to continue on this 1995-ish Polaris, I believe it was a Sportsman four-wheeler that I dragged out behind a house from an estate sale that needed a bunch of love. And we got it tore down, we got the engine to run, went through the carb and all, and then got all the skins off of it. And kind of gave ourselves an assessment. Where we left off was the clutches will not move. You got to rev it up. This is supposed to close up together. And it was all packed with nesting material and all. So I ordered a couple things. They are some of the stuff has come in, and some of the stuff will be in the next day or two. So we're going to continue on our way. I think before we do anything, let's go put the jumper pack back on it, fire it up, make sure that is good to go, and then maybe we'll start tearing into those clutches, get them off of there, and then I want to drag the thing outside and definitely give it a bath with a pressure washer, make it a little bit easier to work on. So yeah, I got brake parts coming in, some other stuff. So, all right, let's go get a jumper pack. Fire her up. I ordered a new battery too. Let's go click that on. There should be enough fuel in it to already fire up. Let's try it without the choke. Try it with the choke. Okay. Good. So we're still good as far as that's concerned. No issues. Let's get it up in the air a little bit. Let's lift the lift up. I got the tooling to pull the clutches off. You got to run them in, and let's see what it takes to get those apart. These two just be bolts holding it on. Sometimes they have left-handed thread. Nope. On that one. Good. Try that. Yeah, smaller socket for that. I think that is 1/2 inch. 12 millimeter. 7/16. And then we have these two guys that go in, bar and bar. I want to hit them with an air gun first. I see a bunch of rust on this one, and I'm going to put some grease on the threads so that it doesn't want to bind going in. A little grease on the tip. Always got to grease the tip. Yeah, that's the one I kind of expected to be an issue. You can see how dry it is, how much rust came out of that. So let's go give ourselves a little dab on the tip there, and then something to kind of work on the threads as we run it in. And that should push off the inside. It should be like a tapered shaft that is in there. Let's grab the impact. And be able to push it away. Let's go close up that grease. Feels like it's there. Feels like I went and it hit something. I go, yeah. Bottomed out. Spacer in there. It feels pretty good. I don't feel any play up inside there. So we're going to put that right in the parts washer, and then we'll try to worry about trying to get it apart. How bad does it look? Decently cruddy, huh? Not quite sure how that comes apart. Guess we'll figure it out. Now, the one that's going to be a pain in the ass, which normally is a pain in the ass, is going to be that one. And I also think we have to, so this has like sections to take apart, and then you could spin one half off of the other. It's kind of threaded together, but this is the one that doesn't move at all. Let's go see if we can get it off of there first. It's more of the same. Run, but you can't hide. Wasn't expecting that. We did that side by side. That thing kicked our ass. That's weird looking, huh? The cover's not in the center like that. I think it was made like that, but just it looks funny. So the problem with this half right here is supposed to squeeze together when you rev it up, and nothing moves at all. So we got to tear into that also. But for now, because now that I have this out of my way, I think I'm going to take it down off the bench. I am going to wheel it outside, fire up the steam cleaner, and we are going to clean everything within an inch of its life and have a little bit better time kind of work on it. Not dealing with so much cruddies, you know. So why don't you clean it right when you take it apart, right before you take it apart. Sometimes I like, you can tell what happened with something by the dirt stains that are on it, like witness of stuff. Sometimes you clean it all off, you hide some of your, I don't even call it your investigative capacity. So that's just why I just kind of wait a little bit before I do clean it, just so I can see, you know, where rodents were going in, where there's a path, where there's an issue that if you go and clean it all off of there, you don't see that kind of stuff, or you know, where something was chomped on, or not always. All right, let's get it down on the ground and get it cleaned up, get the bench cleaned up too. We got to deal with this hardware. So I had to cut this bolt off and this bolt off because they're spinning in the plastic. They look like that. It's like it's kind of like the plastic was molded around the nut. Well, both of them are locked up down there, so. Well, we got the machine outside in the sun, drying up. I figured maybe we'll look into those clutches and see what we can do. But first, let's kind of get the aftermath of the shakedown out of it. We're probably going to work on this bench. Again, I'm not quite sure how they come apart. I want to say the primary might have to go back on the machine and you twist the I think you can unbolt it and the two halves kind of thread together. The rear section, I'm not sure of at all. I don't see any hardware that you unbolt on that. But I think that one, we definitely have to kind of get like chucked up in a lathe and clean up the belt surfaces on. Want that? So let's say we'll probably start with the secondary. And the only thing I see is the snap ring right here. So I'm thinking we have to kind of push down on the center, get a little bit of whatever preload is on, get the snap ring off, and then I think it's going to come apart. That's the only thing I see. Again, I don't see any other hardware anywhere on it. But I want to mark it first. I'm going to do that with a center punch, just so that I kind of know where it came apart. I'm also going to hit with a Sharpie after that. And then let's go give her one down here. Because after I clean it up, the marks may go away. So I know I gave it one here. I already lost it. I could fix it. Oh, we did it on the edge, that's why. I know, I heard you. All right. So let's see if we can figure out how to get that snap ring out of there and try to keep it, because this one's trying to squeeze together. It's spring loaded together. So my guess is this piece, the spring is probably in here. Not sure. I'm gonna mock up something too big to get in a vise. I want to put a little bit of something to hold this together, and we'll try to get that snap ring out of there, see what happens. So I'm digging around. I have this is like for doing little tires, a baby little tire machine, and I'm thinking maybe we can, like it's just sitting on there right now. Got a post going through the center of it. We can put that on there, and maybe get something that pushes on the outer edges here, and I can run a nut down, get a little bit of pressure that can get off of that. We can still get in there with the pliers. So I'm gonna go, if I have to, I'll get like a piece of pipe and I'll cut it in half and I'll put each side. You can have enough room. I'll come up with something. Well, I got kind of close. It would kind of work if I was able to thread onto that, but I can't. So I'm trying to find something smaller than that. Or, if I have to, we could chuck this up on the lathe and we can knock about a ½ inch off of it. I don't think it'll hurt it for its purpose. But for now, I'm gonna quick look and see if I can find anything else like that, just a little bit shorter. Yep, sometimes you just gotta make your own tools. Let's give her a quick spin, see what it looks like. Good enough to get it cut. I'm going to knock off probably about 1 inch of it. That way I clear the jaws, and at the same token, I can always use it back on for whatever tire setup that I'm working on. We can go get a parting tool in there. Yep, probably been a good idea if I turned the camera on and I was cutting with the lathe instead of just pointing the camera at it. But that was perfect. I'd pay me more. So hopefully that can catch threads. Okay, then give us a little bit of, there we go. See an air gap in between there now. Let's go get a pair of snap ring pliers and get that out of there. So, kind of willing a bit. I may know what your next question is. Your next question is the same as my question. Is once we get that ring out of there, are we going to have enough threads to undo it before the spring goes weak, you know? I don't know the answer to that. We are going to find out right now. I think we only got about, what, 6 threads? Let's go back you up. We'll move the light out of harm's way. Fortunately, I can hold it down. There's that. I expect more violence. That. Hope that didn't have a hole I was supposed to index it on. Let me go hit that with a Sharpie down in there. There's 3 different holes that spring can line into. I don't know if it makes a difference. So I'm pretty sure it was out of that one. We'll call it that one. And what about on this half? There was 2 different ones. I think we caught it on camera though, didn't we? Because that's going to make for a different preload. And now we could take it apart. I wonder if we could chuck that up on a lathe and maybe we'll take like a flapper disc to them. How about this side? I guess we could probably mount it in the lathe this way, right? And still do the same thing. Let's go see if we can chip off some of that. There was like really right there. Yeah, there's a lot of it just literally corroded and missing altogether, you know. But that's what we have to work with. So let's go put her in the lathe, try to make it look pretty, and hope for the best. So like when you have a plan, but it doesn't work, we do not have enough swing by about 1/8 of an inch. This is a little bit too large to fit on there. Well, that sucks. Let's try this setup over here. This is kind of like you can move everything out of the way. It's one of those 3-in-1 machines. All we got to do is stick it in it so it can spin. We might have it with that. Well, I think this may be kind of our best bet. Get a better look at what that looks like. I know the outer edge is going to be beat, but that's rough right there, huh? What sucks is too, I looked up prices, and the primary is pretty cheap. Primary is like $100. The secondary, which is this, is like $400, which seems kind of counterintuitive, doesn't it? Considering the parts that are in one compared to the other one. One's got a lot more to it. You would think the primary would be the expensive one. I'm going to go take a little bit more time, continue to work on that, at least try to get everything, you know, whatever's low is going to be that condition. But let's go clean up all the highs off of it, which doesn't feel too bad right now. Right there. You got to figure the belt probably comes to, the top of the belt probably comes to right here. And then, you know, the belt's probably about, what, a 1/2 inch thick, a little bit thicker than that. And the bottom of it's in this part of it at wide open. That's the problem right there, that blister. All right, work a little bit and we'll get the other half in here, see what we can do. Actually, I think I had it backwards. This is on the back one. So up here is going slow, and then as you get towards the center is when you speed up. Let's go downward so the dust tries to go the other way. This is the one that's really got that really crunchy edge on it. Knocked it out of center. Nope. Oh, we're gonna, I don't have much to bite on. I'll be commenting about my T-handle. I can keep working on that, try to work on that outer edge. Get some of that that crud just knocked down the rest of the way. And we got what we got, right? Yeah, those are done. We got little ramps to clean up that they're supposed to slide on like nylon bushings. Let's go get some of the crud off of them. Be gentle. See a little bit of scoring on them right here. May clean up that edge with a file. So you can kind of see witness marks where they were. And they look like they were both in hole number 2. They're numbered. And down below there's only one that is clean. That drops into. Yeah, that one's got crud in it. That one's got crud in it. So we're going to index it to number 2. And up here, this one has a number 2 written on it also. My question is, how far do we index it on the spline? I know we kind of had it lined up. Hopefully I could see some marks on it somewhere. You know what I mean? So we got a mark here. There. We got to twist it that far to make it, because my guess is that's going to be like the preload of it, right? So where was that mark? And which way do we got to go? We got to go. I don't think the other half matters at all, does it? The other half's just kind of floating. Actually, no. When I key it in, it'll lock it. I'm figuring out as we go along. All right, so we got a mark there. And mark 180 out from that. Does that seem right? I may have to get it started on the spline up top. I think I may have to work on this a little bit. Come on, get started. I don't know. maybe I don't have to twist it. Maybe it's just as I draw it down, it'll line up. I got to find my dots though. I do want to make sure I got this one and this one lined up correctly. So the inner is got a key in it. The sprocket, they want to call it the toothed section. See where the 2 red dots are? There's a key right there. It can only go on in one direction. So I believe I have my marks kind of lined up. And I think that's how it works. I think. Not positive. I would say we call that for that one. Let's start looking into the other one. I thought this was going to be easy. Well, I think we could use the same fixture over. Let's see why not. We'll run that nut down. And this one has a heavy spring. I think heavier tension than the other side does. And this is the side that is seized. When this one revs up, the 2 halves are supposed to get closer together, and they don't do that. Let's go run out of that down. Let's go give her some rat-a-tat. Take these out around it. Do we need a washer around that? I don't know if we're covering it. Yeah, let's go get, just in case, I don't know. I'm going to take this back apart. I'm going to put a larger washer, fender washer in there. I don't know if that piece is going to stay with this or connect it to the lower section. And yes, I marked everything with the ink pen. do you think is going to happen? My fear is that because it's frozen, it's going to, like, we're going to take the nut off and it's going to explode on us. Let's go back her off a little bit and see if it wants to. See if it'll have a controlled demolition. And we gotta see if it, I don't know if that spring has the same kind of deal where it's got like, where it locks into. Tension is off the spring. Watch your face. Oh, you guys are just like living on the edge there. I don't see, that one's flat, so that one doesn't have anything that indicates it. Let's get that apart. And so this section is supposed to turn, move up and down, but you see how it's threaded together? One's threaded into the other one. That's why I said we possibly might have to put it back on the machine and try to break it loose. I'm not quite sure how we can kind of grab this, because this needs to turn and come off of here so we can free that shaft up. Let's go get like a couple of little pry bars, see if we can get this to, actually I wonder if we can, maybe we'll wire wheel that center. Get in there, let me see if I can clean this surface up a little bit, because we want this to crush together. And instead of trying to do that over what's there, I don't know if I can get in there with something now. It's because of how it is, you know? Something with a, maybe Scotch-Brite, we can kind of. So I have some like 320 grit. Let's go try that. We'll soak it down with some oil. And see if we can get that surface enough cleaned up so at least it moves. Think it's gonna work. Problem is, I think the other part, this part in here, it's got so much rust on it also. He's puking out some rust. So I'm gonna work on that a little bit and see how we make out. And then again, like this part has to go over here. I can see a whole bunch of rust up on top of this yet. Yeah, definitely puke some rust out. Well, I think, well, this is the side that moves, not this side. So this part is okay. We don't have to worry about the rust that was up in there. Try to figure out how we can make it. Because right now, there's no spring on it. We should be able to just pull it together. Let's flip it over. Let's take a brass rod. We'll tap on it. See if we can kind of get a little bit of travel out of it. Let's see. Let's go get some spray down in there. Because this will stay still, but this plate should be able to drop down. We can probably take the flyweights out of it too. Eventually we will, but just see if it'll move for us. Because the problem is, I think if this is still seized to the center, we're not going to be able to spin it. We're not going to be able to spin this off of it. now. They are like solid hits. Let's try taking the weights out of them. Something else we can kind of take apart and see if we have a little bit of play between these two. Yeah. Heat. I might have to heat it up too. Let's try driving around on these. Hopefully not damaging, but just kind of drive it down a little. I think it's moving. I think it may have moved a little bit. We can get in there and clean the rust that's in those out. Maybe I'll lay something on top of this. Like a flat piece of metal will hit on that. Try not to damage the surface up too much. Those flyweights aren't doing nothing. I can move them around. I can move them with my finger. So they're not binding. That's not what the issue is. Wish I had a block of aluminum that was like this, but I don't. It went where it broke. There. So now the next fun part is we have to get into, probably do the same thing. We have to get into there and clean all that surface up. I was hoping we can get it to unthread and we can just kind of bring it over on the lathe again and polish it up. But maybe we'll try the same thing with some emery. We'll see if we can polish up these. Now the fingers. Just one stuck, this one. A little bit of love, that one come back. All right, let me go, let me go hit the sandpaper in there to get that all cleaned up. Then we need to be able to grab this and have it, slide back and forth perfectly free without any kind of binding. Paper flipped over. And I'd like to get it apart, but all this stuff is aluminum. I'm afraid we're gonna break it. That's my fear. I have a what do you call it, a strap wrench. And the other part we could probably, the base we could probably get mounted in the vise, and possibly we can get a strap wrench across this upper section. But the problem was this half of this half has to be able to spin with this. It was seized together, so it wasn't going to happen. At least we got it so it should turn. Let me do a bunch of that and see if we can get it, like I said, to move up and down a little bit, and then we'll worry about if we need to go take that apart or not. I got it flipped over with that sitting on there, so this should be able to come down. Let's go tap on it with a plastic hammer. Might actually get it, huh? It does need to be able to move like butter, though. No, it ain't butter yet. Maybe we'll take a half-assed attempt at trying to get them to spin apart. I just don't want to tear anything up, get to be able to crack these two loose, spin this whole assembly off of here, and then we can just take this on the wire wheel and clean it up. But I know also sometimes you need to know when to leave stuff well enough alone. I think we'd be able to get that. I think we keep cleaning at that, we'd be able to polish it up and you'd be able to get it. But let me see what I can come up with. Let me see if I can come up with some kind of something to hold things and be able to twist that off of there. Well, I guess it's kind of like any surgery, whether it be human or on a machine. You want to try to do the least damage as possible, but still try to correct the problem. So I wasn't able to spin it apart, but I do have it pretty good. It's free, and again, the spring's going to be on. I got all the flyweights all freed up. There's like little rub pads in here. They all seem like they're in good condition. There's no play going this way on it. That's also what a little bit of the drag is. It's not dragging on the bushing, it's kind of dragging on these here. I don't know if I should put maybe it won't hurt. We go loop, like a little bit of lube on them. And I think we just call it. I think we put it back together. Maybe we'll chuck it in the lathe and we'll try to polish up the surface with either some Scotch-Brite. This one's nowhere near as bad as the secondary though. Let's go see if that helped. I'm grabbing up on everything. Yeah, there you go. All right, so let's go. We have a little bit of, you want to call it deterioration or distortion right there. On the other side, probably the same. So let's go try to chuck this up in the lathe and we'll clean it up the best we can. And maybe we'll put the original belt on it and let it chew on that for a little bit. And we'll kind of check other stuff on the machine. So let's get that in the lathe and then we'll get the machine back in here and try to put it all back together and try to fire it up and see if we have a transmission that functions. And hopefully you don't get our fingers stuck in it. Let's go the other way. So let's pull my hand towards it. We'll hit it with something kind of rough first so we could work our way down. I don't care about the coarseness, just as long as we're getting some of the crap off of it. Yeah, let's go work on it a little bit more right there. That's pitted inward. And that's pitted inward. Working that a little bit more, do the same on the other side. Let's go try that. Yeah. You didn't even hear it. Yeah, so I'll keep working on that with a couple different grits. That was like 80 or something, 60 or 80. I'll work my way up to like a 400. Maybe a wet sand and paint. So looks like 320 and soap and water. Am I going the right way? Nope, every time. Seems to do, I cleaned this side up already for the follow-up. May work a little bit more, but we kind of get an idea what we got. I think that gives a nice texture to it as far as like being a polish. I might do the same on the other clutch. I may bring it back over here and just hit it one last time with that. I don't think we're going to get too much more than that out of it. The rest, again, the pitting's the pitting. And it is, at least it's lower. You know, it's not intruding on the belt. It's just, it's more of a void. So. All right. Oh, you can come. Every time I go the wrong way. Nope, I was going the right way. Let's hit the side of it. Well, it's actually the next day, and it definitely looks and smells a heck of a lot better. We got rid of all the crap that was in the wires and in the fuse box and all throughout it. So the scuzzies are pretty much gone. The clutch is ready to go on. I think we have the two pieces kind of ready to rock and roll to get them back on there, see if they're functioning. But I think maybe we'll deal with the this plastic cover, or at least try to. One is we could try to take the cover off. I don't know if we're going to run into the same problem trying to get screws loose and try to just knock these right out of here. And we could probably do like either a self tapper screw going into that hole, and or maybe try to get a nut stuck back in the plastic on there. Let's we'll try to get the cover off. That doesn't work. Maybe we'll try heating this stud up and see if we can just push it out of the plastic. Again, they look like that is what we're dealing with, but it's spinning in the plastic. So let's go try. These have little fold over tabs on it. We got one down there that might not want to come out of the plastic. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. It may do the exact same thing. I think it's spinning in the plastic. That's what I get. I broke that one off. Keeps on giving. Yeah, now I got 3 of them. I figured all the ones on the bottom were going to be an issue. Let's go get a dry for that. Kind of funny is that it goes through all the trouble of trying to seal this thing, right? You got a big cover that goes on this side, and it's got an air scoop up top that the air comes in through the top up here into the cover. But what about this big hole? You can see the path where the rodents were coming in right through there. Well, that's where they were getting into the belt. It's kind of a dumb set. It was like this cover doesn't seem like it fits it. Is it going to be one? Yep. There it goes. Like this cover was an afterthought they put on there. Actually, it looks like it's designed that way. I look more closer at it, and there is a port there. Look at all the mud behind. I should pull this off before I cleaned it, huh? There's a port that goes down through here, up through this air boot, up. So that's where the breathability is allowed. So the critters had to come that whole route up through here into the case and build that nest. All right, so we got to deal with, yeah, that was never going to come apart. I'm going to go about trying to punch these out of here, maybe the 3 of them, and then maybe we can get like a nut to stick into that plastic when we're done. Let's see if we get them to hammer out first. Open her up a little. Oh yeah. That's all it is anyway. It was just a nut that was set down into the plastic. Good. You could just replace all 3 of those. And that one. Probably get him with a punch. Gone. Gone. Alright, I'm going to try to find just a new harbor for that and put it all back together. Yeah, that one had a space to put the nut just tap back in. These were more, again, like that, I mean, when I call it PEM nut, insert. My thought is, though, let's go try heating up this bolt with the nut and just see if we can kind of like sink it into the plastic a little bit. It doesn't have to go all the way in, as long as it can hold it, because the problem is I can't reach behind there to do a nut and bolt. Let's try it at that temp first. May not have to go crazy with it. Yeah. They're almost flush right there. Get the pliers off of it. We'll just let that one cool down. Probably hit with a compressed air or water or something, huh? Hopefully that just threads right out of there. I'm worried that the plastic on the other side of it oozed its way down, you know. Maybe for the next one we'll run the threads in a little further. That'll be fine. One more time on that one. Now that we got our plan how to do it. Don't think we even have to go as hot. I can kind of hold it straight too while it cools off. Just have to be careful when I bolt it together. I don't push too hard on it. Gotta push it out, you know. Good. Repaired. I'm gonna go clean some of that stuff up. I'm gonna clean some of that crap out that was behind there. And we'll regroup on getting the clutches on. Fire it up. You see what our transmission does. And we'll start to push out of there. I'm going to redo that one a little further in. Just enough where I can get it. There's plastic building up on the other side. Where it lips over a little. Now let's go put our pieces back together. Where is the outdoor secondary? Get in. I have to put in gear. There it goes. Home. Bring her home. This ain't much of a washer to hold it, huh? Then again, the back one's got the splines that it goes onto. Did I tighten those? Questioning myself. I know I didn't bend the tabs down. I got to go do that. Slacker. I tightened them down. I just didn't. I don't know if it does very much because it's not like it's folding on a flat of the screw stopping it from turning. It's just kind of in front of it. So this one is just held on by a taper. No key, no nothing. Just kind of... Ooh, that feels good. Did we have an external washer or was it just the bolt? I think it was just the bolt with that spacer on it. This one... I think we got to kind of run her in with a little bit of a rat-a-tat-tat to her. Let's call that for the win. All right, let's go fire it up. We'll see what, let the whole thing down. We'll see if this clutch is functioning like it should. Then we'll throw the belt on it, and we got to kind of get it. Actually, we can leave it neutral, and then at some point we got to see what we have for a drivetrain. Let's go fire it up, see if that front clutch does what it's supposed to. Choke on, jumper pack on, key on. I think we're neutral. Well, I got the gas off, that's why. I'll prime it back up. I was kind of hoping I had idle. You maybe want to come back a little bit more faster than what it did, but I think we could live with that. Good idle now. See it sitting away a little bit. I don't know if that's... You could probably turn down the idle speed too. I did turn it up. That's a little high. Yeah, a little chalky on the movement. Again, it's just the condition of the, that shaft, all the rust that was in on there. Let's go see what we get. I'm going to go wipe off any of the excess grease on there so I don't get on the belt. We'll throw the old belt on it first and see how we like that. Let it kind of do whatever damage it's going to do on the old one. Gonna blow a bunch of dirt off when we first fire it up, but try it again. I think if I put it in gear, pop it high. Yeah. about right. Where'd it go? Be back in neutral. Nope. See ya. It wants to go for a walk. That would be reverse works. See if we could bump it back up on the ramp. Try that again. There we go. I want to let that belt spin for a while. Let's go raise the RPMs up. Sorry about the camera action. Trying to stare at the machine. I want to let it spin on that belt a little bit. Let's get out of gas. Headlight works. Yeah, just let that spin for a little while. I want to have it so it's kind of like engaged a little though. I know that belt's choppy. I want to let it try to polish up that back pulley. Crank it up a little more. Charging system's working. That jumper pack's at 12.5 resting. That 14th, that means charging system's going. Go give her a little. Fast I can get it to go. That's good. I'll leave it like that. I'm gonna go open the door. Turn the fan on. Let that do its thing. I don't have the other headlight plugged in, that's why. I don't know if it's got a 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive button. Like a light that comes on. I think I hear something switching. Maybe what we can do, we'll put the lift back up. We'll hang it from 4 straps. You get the whole thing floating in the air like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. We'll put it in gear. We'll see how the 4-wheel drive and the low range and all that stuff kind of works. How's that belt doing? Needs the air cleaner to dial it in. Yeah, as soon as I cup it a little bit, it comes in, smooths out a little. We also have an air fuel mix adjuster on that. We can kind of back it out a little bit, but we got to do that after the air box is on. Okay, I'll bring it out of here now. Behind it. See the voltage went back down to 12.2 when it's not running.
There it is, right there. Let's go out of here with it.
What are we doing? Yeah, we'll fine tune that when the airbox is on it. Leave it right there. All right, go get her up in the air and we'll hang it from the rafters and we'll see how the transmission works. What could possibly go wrong? It's gonna swing my direction, I think. So pop off. I want to let down. Saw something, old black thing went tink. All right. Looks a tad funny. Let's go tie those ropes up out of the way. We'll fire it up and we'll put it in gear and see what we have for, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. It's like it's magic. All right. Just don't want to eat it, you know. Whoa. With the four-wheel drive on. Four-wheel drive works. Reverse works. I don't know about reverse and four-wheel drive. Just try it now. So we got something going on in the front end because the axle is turning. I know it's dark. The wheel's not turning. So we got something up both sides. Kind of weird, huh? But it was locked in going forward. I don't know if they got a sprag in them or something, but you would think, well, you reverse, we'd still have four-wheel drive. Right? Wrong? Take it out of four-wheel. Yeah. Weird. So the axle's turning. That's not. And that's not. So the axles are turning. I don't know if there's, I don't think so. I don't think there's anything that activates in the wheels. Maybe that turns all the time. Yeah, so it's there's something electric in the hubs that turn them on and off. So the axles turn all the time. That's odd, huh? I would have thought it would have been something like the front differential would have turned on and off. Not. That's like old school four-wheel drive truck that you lock the hubs manually. All right, so we have a problem with that. I wonder if we gotta lengthen that con rod a little bit. I don't want to get her bouncing too much. Yeah, I want to let it keep doing that. Yeah. All right. So let's look into adjusting that con rod, get us in high gear, which is going to be that rod that's, we can get the muffler out of our way. And see if we can go a little bit in higher gear, see if that's a problem. If not, it may have a problem with the differential where it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. If so, it's going to be a it's going to be a low range machine. Okay, is what it is. We're going to do a little shaky handheld with noisy fan in the background. But anyway, I'm going to grab the back tire and spin it. And you could hear it clicking, right? So here's the two shifter rods. Watch when I go from neutral. That's reverse. Into drive. You notice anything? This one's the low range one. I'll put it in low. That one seems okay. Notice anything about that one? Notice anything now? It has no nut on it. Whether somebody took it apart and tried to adjust the con rods out of it, or it just has so much play between, you know, forward and reverse that it's just not going all the way in gear. Let's go try throwing a nut on it first, see if that takes care of it. If not, we'll try to lengthen that. So what's, hey, that's drive. I don't know, it feels like it's pretty much, I don't think we're gonna get anything. Yeah. I wonder if it's going too far. Think that's the thing? Let's like that. Let's go see if it's locked in. I gotta put pliers on and try it. I'm gonna try it manually before we hook this up. I wonder if it's trying to over travel it maybe. No, it's rocking. So I put it like in gear. And it feels like it's in gear. If I try putting that, I don't know. Neutral. And it does it again. Yeah. Let's go put the nut on, see what we get. It might be just that, not pushing it all the way in. Yeah, I think that might have been it. Reverse, neutral, in the drive, and it's in gear. Well, awesome. Just that it wasn't allowing to push it that last little click all the way over, so. Lost its nuts a little bit, happens. Let's look into why we're here and why this thing's hanging in the air and the exhaust is up out of our way. Let's go look into this rear brake assembly. I have new brake shoes, but let's go see what is happening to try to make this whole assembly, you know, we probably have to clean that rotor up and everything. Let's get this plastic out of the way. I want to see what that chain looks like under there. I don't know if I have to deal with that front fender. Yeah, we just loosen the 2 bolts here. We can kind of pull it away enough to work. And then I also have front pads too, so we should probably look into what we got going on up here, huh? Yeah, looking kind of cruddy. At least try to hit him with a flapper disc. Plus, we don't know if, you know, if any, I haven't even tried squeezing the lever yet because I don't want him to be stuck in that position. So, dig it further. Crisis averted. Yeah, I think we got all the hardware out of it. The front is broken away. Come on out. Ooh. Tad rusty, huh? Definitely, at least the chain tightness is good. We might be able to save that with some lube. I see that one link right here is froze. Depends on what I got for chain. If I got it, we'll do it. If we don't, we won't. We're just gonna lube it up real good. But we are more concerned about right now, them's the brakes. Oh, we got any? Let's try. Right now, do I have any gear? It'll turn. And if I hit the lever, I don't think anything happens. Yeah, so that part at least isn't doing anything, but I think that's a mechanical adjustment across from like a hydraulic cylinder. How am I going to be able to reach them brakes up there? I don't know. I want to change them anyway. I think I have the right ones. There was 2 sets, 2 different styles showing up when I did a search for the pads. I'll show you what I got. So here's everything I got. These should be fronts. Almost every 4-wheeler I've ever worked on seems like takes those. And here's what I have for the rear. I don't know what it's got for locating. And they had another style that had like hooks out here, like a half circle on each side. I don't know if that is going to be what we have here. But let's unbolt this caliper. We'll pull it away. We'll see if that piston and everything kind of moves inside it. So we need what? 1/2 inch, 12 millimeter? Half of a 12? I think this is 13. Yeah. That one's snug to get in there. You thought I was going to strip it out, didn't you? Me too. I think that's the only 2 holding it. Can we... I don't know if we have to take this brake lever right off of here. I'm cautious don't break that either, huh? Kind of looks like an afterthought, doesn't it? Look like somebody put like a bolt on there with a nut. Kill it. Well, I think that may be our adjustment too. Please don't break. I think we got it. Yeah. I thought it was going to separate right there. I can see where it's keyed in, you know. Just rusted to it. Let me go get a little bit of a pry bar, tap behind it, and we'll drive it in. That chain looks like it's got the worst case of dry mouth ever. Let's see if we can get it. What the lever? Will that give us enough room? Get the caliper out. I think so. There we go. What do we got? Yeah, it looks like you could index the mechanical brake part of it. And I think we got 2 pins holding it. Where do we drive those out? Can we? That'd suck if we can't, huh? They're kind of a blind, right? How'd you get those pins out? There's nowhere to tap. Yeah. Or if we just take the brake line right off of it, we'll bring it over to the bench and see if we can just kind of free everything up. Yeah. I think those pins are, it's kind of dumb, huh? Probably try to get into a pair like a needle nose or something, try to push them out. I have a feeling they're going to be rusted up inside there though. We got to get those pins out to get those pads in. So what do you think the chances are those pins are just going to want to walk right out of there? No problem. Yeah. That's about what I figured. And you ain't got much room to grab on anything neither. Yep. About what I expected. They are just seized in place. And there's no access to drive them from this side, I don't think. Right? Let's try taking those set screws out. I don't believe so. Let's go try to get those out. Get this off here. Because they are located, I think this one kind of lines up with one, but I would think we'd see it on this one a little. I want to see what's in here anyway. I would think it'd be just the mechanical part, but I may get into the hydraulics. Dun, dun, dun. What do we get? We have the gasket. I don't want to break. And that probably pushes on the pad. It's got a little spring-loaded, which is stuck. And I don't see any access to the backside of those pins, but let's see what we can, worst case, if we have to leave those pads in there, they still have material left on them. So yeah, so that lever, when we twist that brake lever, that's on a cam that rocks and pushes down on this pin, but this pin is frozen, so we can go clean that up. Yeah. That's supposed to push the pads together. But again, I don't know what we're going to do about. Well, I think we could probably push that cylinder back, right? Just like a regular brake caliper. I think we just push fluid out. Let's see what we get. Yeah. That's just like a regular brake caliper. And it does move, which is good. Gives us a little bit more room too, maybe to get those. I don't know if I can get a pair of those vice grips on them and try to rock it back and forth. Let's blow it out. We'll soak her down a little bit. I might take it on a wire wheel too. I'll clean up some of the crap that's on the edges of this. The thing I could think up too is just if we drive them in a little bit, get a little bit of movement, but it rarely works. Let me go screw with this for a little bit. See if I can go save it. Either way, we're going to save it. We'll just leave these 2 pads in there. Oh, maybe. Oh yeah. Right. Who's your granddaddy? We got her. I'm gonna go clean her up. I want to see you get that bleeder freed up. I'm gonna wash a bunch of stuff, and we'll reassemble. Here's the cam that's inside there. You want to see how that mechanical lever works on the cam? It's on the back side there. Here's where the grooves are that it rides up on. It pushes down that piston, that pushes on the peg. It's awesome. Been doing some digging, and I got the sprocket off, chain off, sprocket off, and the pulley off. I'm going to go clean that up on the sander and make that more presentable and kind of free up. This is meant to float back and forth. The caliper, I think, stays put, but the rotor can slide from side to side. It has about 3/8 inch, a half inch of play on that shaft. So I'll go through that. The chain that was on there is what's called an O-ring chain. If you look at it, you see where it's got O-rings to keep the water out of the links. I saw them, a couple of them spitting out. That one you can see it's spitting out right there. I know I don't have an O-ring chain. I may have a regular chain that's the same size. If I do, I'll put that on. If not, I'm gonna go clean that up on a wire wheel, maybe soak it in some kerosene. I think this is the one that really needs to be replaced. This is the one that's been doing most of the work and exposed. I may have some, we'll see when we get there. For now, let me go continue dealing. Feels like it's distracted. Focus on what you're doing. I had a little fast forward, get you up to date on what's going on. So, put the brake assembly back together. I did not put the external cover on it because I'm going to have to bleed it through the line because the bleeder did break off trying to free it up. Brake pedal is good. It operates the brake and stops like it should. The rotor got cleaned up. Took the sprockets off, cleaned them up. Cut a new chain. Here's the old one, and then I laid out another one next to it. Problem is the stretchiness of the old one compared to the new one. I cannot get that last link connected to it. So the adjustment for that, I believe, is in the front, right here. We loosen this assembly up, and the whole bearing hub rotates, and it's got an offset to it. It will make that sprocket closer and further away from that sprocket. I do believe we can get it where that one will tighten up, and then on the front it may tighten the front chain up. It's really not bad. It may tighten that front chain up a little bit too, but I'm going to try to get that assembly together so that I have a fine line. I would think the front would be adjustable too. Maybe the same scenario up in there, but we'll see. And then we got to dig into this mess. See what we got going on up here for brakes. That means the brakes. That's getting ahead of ourselves though. Let me see if I can get the drivetrain put back together, and I want to chase that back chain. I did find 2 of them, so that's good. And then we can replace that back chain also. The front one, I'm not really going to be that concerned about. Actually, it looks pretty good. It actually stayed somewhat greasy, and I think it's out of harm's way more than the other 2 are. Okay, that's the update. Did the rear chain too, and plus it has the same adjuster on it, but it's a little easier to see what I got. So right now the chain is real slack. You could see the marks, how much I moved it, the 2 red marks. And when you look at the axle, you can see the axle's not in the center of this hub. So as you rotate that, that's what tightens and loosens the chain up. Let's go grab, I think the water pumps are good enough to do it. And so we're just gonna wanna go tighten that chain up. Let me pop you in a stand. Yes, I'm just gonna wanna dial that in so that we wanna go back now. It's gonna be a little too tight, and I want to give it, I don't know, just because that swing axle, the swing arm moves in this thing, so maybe about right there. We'll have it. We find it, you know, if it stretches out a little bit, or we find it, whatever. This one's really easy to tweak because it's just loosening these 2 bolts and rotating that. I'm also gonna hit them with both with a grease gun. This one seems pretty good. The bearings seem like they're good in it. A lot of times, I know on the 2-wheel drive, like one of the sport quads, that's like the first thing that burns up. Those rear bearings get cooked in the thing. And we go button some stuff up. And let's go see what those front calipers have for us. I think that's not going to do it. Let's try the other one. The battery's very low. Yeah. Let's go give her, what size is that? 13mm, or otherwise known as 1/2 inch. Let's give her some 1/2 inch impact. Can I get in there with it? Like butter. That there's the difference between a toy impact and a real impact. Should be able to wiggle that out of there. Should probably maybe take the line right off. I do want to kind of clean them up. I'm going to bleed everything anyway. Let's rub it on the bearings are quiet. That's good. Rotors look pretty straight. Yeah, I'm going to take the brake line off of that and clean it up. Put the new pads on it. See if the piston goes back in. Probably do the same with the other side. Start speeding things up a little bit because I want to try to get this thing together. If it will go together. Sometimes it works. Sometimes they fight you. So far so good though. We're getting there. Now the brakes are pretty much put together. Where let's see what our master cylinder looks like. This could be good or it could be cruddy. Let's get that, a little help in that one. Use .3. You use .4 in .3. It's not the other way around. Well, there was fluid in it. That is a good sign. You want to try giving it a couple of... Actually, let's take a turkey baster. We'll draw out what's even in there. That way we're not contaminating the rest of it. Draw out what's there. We'll start with some fresh stuff. Plus we'll get rid of any, it's pretty nasty. Any, there's like a little screen there for the input. And you can't see it's pretty dark. We, I didn't even hit with an air gun. Finish blowing out the rest of the crap. We'll fill her up and we'll try pumping it up. Like I said, the two in the front, the bleeders are fine. The one in the back, we're going to have to bleed at the line though. Should probably use a light, huh? Now, can we see? Yeah, I got a little bit of, like, whatever this is. Maybe a little one-way valve that was sitting in there. As long as I'm not going to lose a check ball or anything, you know. We'll hit it, we'll put a rag around it, we'll blow it out with air gun. There is a bunch of crap sitting in there. And then that has a bunch of crap also sitting in there. But that's why we took it apart. Let's go give her a... The piston's returning, that's good. Underneath there's like a piston that we're pushing. It's pushing the hydraulic fluid down. And sometimes that gets bound up. Let's go air it out, and fill her up, and bleed some brakes. How I'm going to do this. One of you might have to be up here working a lever for me. Bloop, 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 bloop. I should be able to reach the one, the front left. See how the bubbles coming out? That's all the air that's in the line. Which is good because I want to purge everything out of it anyway. I want everything new. Go get my little wrench. Supposed to do the one furthest away, but I'm not going to be able to do it like that. So let's go I'm gonna go open the bleeder, close the bleeder, pump up a little bit. See if I get anything. I'm just gonna hold my finger over the bleeder and see if I can get it to kind of prime, you know. Nothing saying that plunger is doing what it's supposed to be doing. I have one of those little power bleeders, but I don't know if the bleeder is so tiny, I don't know if I can get it on there. I'm going to work on that. I might take that little thing out of there. There's like a baffle, or the best thing to call it. Let's get rid of that. Allows fluid to drop down a little, maybe a little bit better. See a bunch of dirt coming up in the fluid. I don't know if you guys probably can't see it. I'm gonna go look around, see if make sure you didn't leave a brake line open. Just pile on the level. Because the level did go drop down. I had it filled to the top, right? So I pumped it up and I clamped it on the handlebars. Again, this is one with the broken bleeder, but we are getting fluid. I'm gonna keep doing that. Well, after a bunch of running around and doing just regular bleeding, we have fully operational disc brakes, and then I adjusted the stopper on the other one after the rear caliper closed up. I ran that bolt in to the brake pedal. The mechanical part of the brake pedal is just right. So we have the, I guess if the hydraulics fail, we still have the mechanical part of it, which again was that adjustment. I think we are good to, maybe we'll fire it up one more time and make sure that transmission is good, that it's not doing that popping and grinding kind of thing. And from there, I think we can start putting stuff together. I run around, grease gun, I hit everything. I checked the fluid levels inside the gearbox, which seems fine. Don't see any water in there. Have not lubed the chains yet, but again, like I said, I ran around in a grease gun, hitting all the pivot points on the front end and the joints and everything, and the swing axle, swing arm. So let's go fire up, make sure our transmission is good, and then we could probably start getting into reassembly of it. Let's go fire it up again. And again. And again. Where is it? There it is. Get rid of the choke. Just dry. Pretty decent. Good, let's not smoke her up too much. I am going to change over that belt Like I said, I have two. One that I found in my stash. Where'd they go? Yeah, I found this one in my stash, which is very similar size-wise next to it. And then this was a new one. That was would be the actual replacement for it. Let's go try this one and see how it performs. So we're just going to go with that, and I'm going to save myself $100 on the cost of the other belt. Actually 90, I think it was. Everything else seems to be pretty similar to it. And if that's okay, we will. I'm going to start buttoning up a bunch of put all the plastics back. So I always try to get this thing wrapped up. But first, before we do that, because you got to do so much to get that belt on there, let me go try that. We'll just give it a function check real quick, and then we'll get the assembly on it. Let's just give that a quick function check. Seems good to me. All right, let that reassembly begin. I'll bring you back when there's any kind of odd stuff I run into. I know we got to do some welding on the front rack, but I'm gonna start chasing all the plastics in the seat and the gas tank, and kind of fast forward it a little bit. One thing I forgot to add. So in the last video, there was a comment. Check the water pumps fail, and I guess it goes into the bottom of the crankcase. There's supposed to be a drain plug on the bottom side of the motor towards this side. I did not see that. I don't know if it's just got something covering it. And if any water came out of it, it would have showed that the water pump had a failure. So I'm going to mark the fill level, and we'll just kind of keep an eye out on the reservoir. If we start seeing that drop down, then we know it's got a leak somewhere. Plus, it should blow white smoke out. It looks like the air filter housing needs a little bit of love. So we're going to go try to cook her together. Just a couple of these. Wheel them around. Let it cool off, then you just break the little tabs off afterwards. Probably hit it with some kind of sealer or something too on the inside or the outside. That should get us in there. And everything's made of plastic. You need a plastic welder. Uh-oh. Too far. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm gonna go do that around the rest of the crack. Yeah, I should hold it. A little bit of a porcupine-y kind of thing. I was thinking about trying to grind them off, but I'm just gonna leave it alone. I don't want to heat them up again and have them loosen up the socket. You're getting so close to the finish line, you're almost there, and you're like, wrap this up. I gotta throw the battery in. YTX 14AH. YTX 14BS. Well, there's a difference between the two of them. About 3/8 of an inch in width. They chopped it off there and put it on there, and vice versa. Well, I am to the point where it's going in. Oh, it's going in. But we're gonna just have to do a little bit of modifying to that box. I'm gonna have to cut down the side of it, cut the lip over, bend it up, re-tack it back on. It is going to fit. It just doesn't know it yet. Slight adjustment. Come to me. Gotta get some pliers on it. bend it out. I need to put a bend right about there. I'm gonna have to cut it and reset it, and I'll try to tack it back to the sidewall. Like it never happened. Hey, don't underestimate the power of zip ties. Those are the good ones, not those Harbor Freight ones. We'll go 3Mers. Well, we got last thing to try to knock out. I guess the front end broke apart here. This is supposed to be welded to that, and it is busted away. Actually, right from there to there, that's what's supposed to be welded, and she is broke on both sides. So I'm gonna go clean that up and get that welded. I'm not going to put the camera in front of it because I just damaged the lens. I got a weld splatter right in the center of it. So I'll get that cleaned up, and I think we're almost ready to drop her off the lift. Hope it still runs. Let's see what we get. I think the gas is on reserve. I don't remember. Let's turn the idle down a little. Gas is on. It's on reserve right now. I got about a gallon in it. A little warm up. You can probably turn that idle down. Let's go see what it does when we bump it into gear. Now that we got brakes. Yeah, it's got to come down a little. Maybe not. Running out of gas. I might have to push the fuel through, but it does. Might have air trapped in the line. I got a clear line on it. so I can see. I see a little bit above the car, but it's got air above it. Let me try adjusting that air fuel mix now that we have the air box and everything on. Look at this skinny little, where is it? What a mess, huh? I'll find it. I might have put it away. A skinny little tiny straight blade. Got to be a tight squeeze getting in there, but let's see what we get. Went in a little. I went in about a half a turn. It might be the other way though. I'm gonna screw with it for a while. Back to where it was and out a half a turn. That's better. I'm gonna let it settle down. It's just too rich before. I got the camera going. truck. That's good. Sure, that wasn't helping things. It probably had so much in the bottom of the crankcase. Fall on my ass. Let's go someplace that has trails. Well, it's gonna be a little shaky, unfortunately. I don't have my mount with me. Let's see how we do. I ended up putting some premix, a little bit, in the gas. Just to try to help it. I didn't test the oil injection system. There was no oil in the old gas. So I would suspect it's working, but just in case. She's a little squirrely. Definitely has like a little bit of a ripper of a power band. Kind of reminds me, I have a old Yamaha Enduro, like a 73 175. Kind of reminds me of that. That's a funky noise. Uh-oh. Holy, definitely a storm has gone through, knocked down a few trees. I was just through here not all that long ago. We got one hanging there. It's gonna stay running. Go shut her down. Yeah, we got, the trail goes that way. So there's that. Okay. Let me, I'm going to try and, I don't know what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try and open up, try to clear it out a little bit maybe. Yeah, definitely needs a loading up. That oil didn't help. Now it's smoking again. This is not working. Transmission feels pretty good. I'm just in two-wheel drive. Kind of wondering if the reason why I stopped getting used was that shift linkage. It wasn't going in the drive all the way. one-handed. I don't want to get on it too much. That, and I got a, there's, you got like black flies, so it's like these little, these suckers that bite you. And they really bite you, and they're out. I may have to cut this one short. Around my back. It sounds pretty good though. Everything else seems to be doing what it's supposed to be doing. I don't know if the electric fan works or not yet. It hasn't gotten hot enough for that. We'll be in the 90s today. It's a mud crossing. Again, we're still just in two-wheel drive. Yeah, definitely too much two-stroke. I didn't put that much in. I probably made another 10%. Like if something was 50 to 1, I made it 40 to 1. I ran it for a second before I did that, and it was no smoke, it was clear. So unfortunately it is what it is. I probably have half a tank in it right now. And when you put two-stroke oil in, you actually lean out the mix too, because there's less fuel to go around. You got more oil than you have fuel. Yeah. Idle force. Fan works. Definitely got a tweak on the carb too though. Good, I'm glad the fan is working. That's a good check on that. Well guys, we had our shakedown run. It is pretty decent for what it is. Again, it's a shakedown run, so you kind of find out other things that are going on with it. And the biggest thing, like I said, I added oil to the fuel, and it has oil injection, and I'm overdoing it because I did run it for about just a couple of minutes right before that. Smoke all cleared up, it was good, and now it looks like it's running too rich on the oil part of it, so it doesn't idle. Power's good. You can kind of hear it breaking up, like they call it four-stroke, and like, you know, you hear like every other fire when you're in the puttering part of it, but when you get on it, it clears right up and it does rip. Off camera, I got on it, two hands on a handlebar. It'll just rooster tail the thing all the way around. It's quite, I'm impressed with how it handles for something that is so old, 95, it's 30 years old. Well, with their four-wheelers, you know, we're probably going, what, 10 years into their manufacture. And it handles quite well. It's a fairly decent machine. It's very, says sportsman on it, but it's more on sport quad instead of utility quad, which is like the racks and everything. It wants to have that and kind of take off capacity to it. And I was only giving it quarter throttle, maybe the whole time. Like I said, and the other hand was trying to hold the camera steady from bouncing around. But I like it. It worked out pretty good money-wise. What we're into, paid $200 for the machine. Brake parts were $20. The battery was $40. I had the chains and I had the belt, but figure you probably another $150 in that if I had to go buy it, and then some fluids and dopey stuff. But so far so good. We'll see how the clutches hold out over time. So far it seems to be okay. It is functioning. It's pulling in like it should. And I guess I'm dragging a branch. So that might be an issue. Not that I was getting on it or anything. There's the battery install after. I don't know if I showed it. The cage hooked up. The seat, the lever for the seat is broke on the back, and it has a bungee on it. I have a feeling that's what they did before too. But again, it's gonna be a backup quad for when I get visitors. They can run it. But I like it. It's a pretty decent machine. Everything is pretty, for the most part, functioning on it. I haven't tried the hand warmers and that kind of thing, but just a little bit more. I'm gonna purge the fuel that's in it. I'll run it in my truck or something. I'll just put straight gas back in it again, and I think it will help it some. And then, of course, I left that side cover off on the other side, so I can tweak that carb a little bit and get it into adjustment as it settles down. Worst case, I may have to pull it off one more time, pull the bowl off, and just kind of clean it. Everything seems like it's functioning like it should. Nothing's leaking out of it. Don't know about the cooling system, like we talked about, whether there was a plug to go check it. Right now it's hot, so that bottle's gonna be overfull. Yeah, there's our mark. And then when it heats up, it expands, so it goes up to there. We'll just kind of keep an eye out, make sure I'm maintaining that on a cold level. But it seems decent when I bring it up to 35 or 40 in the driveway, on the trails, and the 20s. Nice. All right, guys, with that, I want to thank you all for hanging out with me, bringing old junk back to life. And I would say this one is back to life. And we'll get into something else pretty soon. All right, till then, I'll see you later. Oh, and I was talking about the other machine that I had that I bought. New. That's the other one I run. Suzuki Vincent. And that's 2003. Again, I bought it new. And then, of course, all the adaptions you see on it with the fender flares, the front bumper guard on it, larger tires on it, the rack on the back, the rear fender foot pegs, and winch setup has all been added to it. Real mirrors, car mirrors, it looks like. And then my wife runs this machine, which is a Kodiak that I picked up. We did a video on this about a year or two ago, and that machine is good for her size. It's like I sold it, traded it, was a Honda, 1985 Honda four-wheel drive, full-time four-wheel drive, and it was just a bear to turn the handlebars. And so she needed something you could turn the four-wheel drive on and off, and it's an auto stick too. You just like this one, you put it in the gear and go with a serpentine, the CVT belt. That's got the same setup. Mine, on the other hand, is a 5-speed with an automatic clutch that I like. All right, guys, now we're gone. See ya.